The programme today is about problems of pollution and traffic congestion. People in the street complain about the smell and the noise and the danger of traffic. They express their wish for a change. Local residents tell us what they think of new developments. They reflect on what might have happened if things had been done differently. But science already has many of the answers. A young person tells us what we will be doing and how we will be living in 10 or 20 years from now. We meet a horticulturalist and businessman who thinks he has many of the answers, not just to problems in Britain, but for developing countries as well. And we meet an architect who designs houses which are friendly to the environment. And Meter Man has his own special way of conserving energy, of course. Everyday English.
The smell of exhaust fumes is really disgusting.
The noise is absolutely appalling.
The trouble is, everyone is in such a hurry, and they want to go faster and faster. I just wish they would keep to the speed limit here.
The problem here is that the traffic moves so slowly. More and more children are getting asthma these days. I wish they would ban cars completely from the town centre.
That's my house over there. The difficulty here is that we have the motorway just at the bottom of the garden, and it's getting busier and busier all the time. I wish we could move house, but we can't, so we just got to put up with it.
Now, here's a helping hand. First, to complain about how bad something is, use an adverb and an adjective.
The smell of exhaust fumes is really disgusting.
The smell of exhaust fumes is really disgusting.
The noise is absolutely appalling.
The noise is absolutely appalling. Next, explain what the problem is, like this.
The trouble is, everyone is in such a hurry.
The trouble is, everyone is in such a hurry.
The problem here is that the traffic moves so slowly.
The problem here is that the traffic moves so slowly.
The difficulty here is that we have the motorway just at the bottom of the garden.
The difficulty here is that we have the motorway at the bottom of the garden. If you would really like a change to take place, use wish and would or could.
I just wish they would keep to the speed limit here.
I just wish they would keep to the speed limit here.
I wish they would ban cars completely from the town centre.
I wish they would ban cars completely from the town centre.
I wish we could move house, but we can't, so we just have to put up with it.
I wish we could move house, but we can't, so we just have to put up with it. Improve your fluency. To make your point stronger, use repetition, like this.
More and more children are getting asthma these days.
More and more children are getting asthma these days.
And it's getting busier and busier all the time.
And it's getting busier and busier all the time.
Now this is a busy road, but they've introduced a traffic calming system, and it's much better. They should have introduced it 10 years ago.
Well, they've pedestrianised this high street, and now it's a great improvement. Cars are no longer allowed. They should have done it before, of course, but better late than never.
A helping hand. It's much better. A great improvement. It makes a lot of difference. But even when people are happy, they still like to grumble or complain, especially when the local council or the government are involved. Any kind of bureaucracy is called just they.
They should have introduced it 10 years ago.
They should have introduced it 10 years ago.
They should have done it before, of course.
They should have done it before, of course. Specialised English.
30 years ago, this valley was a quiet place, crisscrossed by country lanes and footpaths. Many people believe that Geoffrey Chaucer travelled this road with the pilgrims to Canterbury. Nowadays, the motorway runs right across it, splitting the valley in two. The farms and villages seem small in comparison. The noise is never far away. Many people believe that the British like to live in the past, that they're against change. But here in the southeast, the green spaces are small. The cities and roads are hungry to eat them up. So it's not surprising that many people are against more housing developments, more roads, more motorways.
Well, yes, frankly, I wish they hadn't built the motorway. I used to walk along here when it was nothing but fields and woods and open countryside. And now, everywhere you look, you see that awful motorway. And everywhere you go, you hear the noise of the traffic. I wish they had left it as it was.
There was no alternative. They had to build the motorway. The roads were too crowded. If they hadn't built the motorway, all that traffic would have gone through the towns and villages.
This road is called a bypass. It goes all round the outside of a village. Before the bypass was built, all this traffic, cars, buses, lorries, went through the middle of the village. Then they built the bypass, and the village is quiet again. Well, reasonably quiet.
The bypass is a good thing for this village. If they hadn't built it, all that traffic would still come through the village today. Can you imagine that? Frankly, I wish they'd built it 10 years earlier.
This valley is still a peaceful place, but it might have been different. In the 1980s, a proposal to build a high-speed railway all along the valley was turned down, refused.
I campaigned against the railway, and I'm very happy that we won. If they had built a railway here, they would have destroyed the peace and beauty of this valley forever. I think if they had built the railway, we would have moved to Scotland or somewhere far away.
A helping hand. Let's listen to some of that again. First, imagining something in the past, another type of conditional sentence.
If they hadn't built the motorway, all that traffic would have gone through the towns and villages.
If they hadn't built the motorway, the traffic would have gone through the towns and villages.
The bypass is a good thing for this village. If they hadn't built it, all that traffic would still come through the village today.
If they hadn't built the bypass, all that traffic would still come through the village today.
If they had built a railway here, they would have destroyed the peace and beauty of this valley forever.
If they had built a railway here, they would have destroyed the peace and beauty of this valley forever.
I think if they had built the railway, we would have moved to Scotland or somewhere far away.
If they had built the railway, we would have moved to Scotland or somewhere far away.
Before this housing development was built, this area was greenfields too. But not everyone is against development.
People have got to live somewhere. In 10 years' time, this will look fine. The trees will have grown, the bricks will have mellowed, the gardens will have matured.
And of course, young people continue to be optimistic about the future.
Science is moving forward all the time. In 20 years from now, hopefully people will be driving electric cars, which will be clean and quiet. We'll be heating our houses by solar energy or wind power. We'll be using resources more economically. You'll see, where there's a problem, there must be an answer.
A helping hand. Now, a look into the future perfect tense.
The trees will have grown.
The trees will have grown.
The bricks will have mellowed.
The bricks will have mellowed.
The gardens will have matured.
The gardens will have matured. And the future continuous tense.
In 20 years from now, hopefully people will be driving electric cars.
In 20 years from now, hopefully people will be driving electric cars.
We'll be heating our houses by solar energy or wind power.
We'll be heating our houses by solar energy or wind power.
We'll be using resources more economically.
We'll be using resources more economically.
You'll see, where there's a problem, there must be an answer.
You'll see, where there's a problem, there must be an answer. I hope she's right. A personal view. Duncan Brown is a horticulturalist and environmentalist. Duncan uses plants to find an answer to some of the problems of modern living.
Well, I started off working in our own family business. I'm a third generation, actually. We had our own horticultural shops, so we're used to dealing with a broad range of horticultural products. One of our solutions is willow wall to sound barrier noise. I mean, I live very close to a very busy road here on the A25, which has in fact increased with traffic flow ever since the M25 has opened. And we found that by using a willow wall barrier, we found that it's not only dampened the noise, but it's also improved the ecological situation, bird life population, etc.
Another innovation from Duncan is a type of grass that grows very quickly. It's called fast grass.
Fast grass is a treatment to grass seed, and virtually any grass seed, where we can take it through the germination process and arrest it and stop it, so that when it actually is sown, it's ready to go straight away. The radical's ready to move. We get very rapid establishment. We can get, in the UK, we can get 4 inches of growth in 7 days, which will go on for about 5 weeks. The other advantages, of course, with fast grass is with agricultural forage crops. And it was that led me, when I took, in fact, the fast grass samples to India, that in fact we were getting such tremendous results, 1.5 inches growth with blue panicum, which is a forage grass in India, in 24 hours. 1.5 inches in 24 hours from seed. Now that meant that we could get cows grazing in 3 to 4 weeks. And when you're looking at India and you're looking at Bombay with all of that dense population of 15 million plus, if you can in fact arrest that situation of bringing people into the urban areas and developing the rural areas, it suddenly occurred to me that our product could in fact seriously contribute to helping the government in India to deal with that problem.
But Duncan has used his innovative talents to help find an answer to the third world's most pressing problem, the need for basic housing. The idea of fast-built houses came to him during his visit to India in 1993.
And it was then that I started working with the need to provide housing in a very, very fast way, in a very easy way of erection, so that in fact villages of 100 to 200 houses to 500 houses could be put up very quickly. And that's what led me on to Enviro when we came back to the UK.
Environ is a cheap product that Duncan makes from recycled material. Houses like these are easy to make and easy to build. Duncan believes that with village houses like these, more people can stay in their own place instead of moving into the cities.
The land is particularly personal to them, and I think that's quite a general feel that you'll find with the poor in most countries of the world. They love the areas where they live. They don't really want to be moved away from.
Such simple houses are a long way from the house designed and built for his own use by British architect Michael Winter. Michael lives in a green house.
The building is a green building because it works with the environment rather than against it. Therefore, you're trying to use the bonuses of the environment, the sun, to heat up, trying to protect it from the elements of the wind and the cold, trying to keep the heat in. There are lots of trees on the site, and we really didn't want to take any trees out at all. So the building is very much an organic shape, which actually steps around the trees. And again, we developed that further, and we've actually put the foundations on piles or on pads instead of having a strip foundation, which could cut off the tree roots of the trees and therefore kill them.
Wood is the main building material that Michael has chosen for his house.
Well, I'm a keen fan of contemporary architecture, and particularly high-tech. High-tech, you tend to show the function of the structure, and very often you have the structure on the outside. And that to me had quite a nice feel, because we've got trees. I wanted the building timber, because it's an environmentally friendly material. So you have the columns on the outside, which really mimic the trees. If you keep timber dry and well ventilated, it should last for years and years and years. In fact, many old houses have timber that isn't preserved, and it's just as good now as it was then, and that's hundreds of years ago. We've tried to keep that, and the material is very natural. For instance, the floor, it's a hardwood floor, but we've managed to get that from an old school. They were going to knock it down, and we managed to save it before it was knocked down and clean it up, put it onto the floor, and it works very well.
The north side of Michael's house is next to a noisy railway line. To keep out the noise and to conserve energy, there are only a few small windows here. The south side of the house receives all the sun's rays. Large triple-glazed windows allow the natural heat through. This is one of the 4 sources of heating.
The second source really is there's a wood-burning stove in the living space, which gives heat to the living space. The third source is a mechanical ventilation system, which has a heat pump with it. The heat pump really works like a fridge in reverse, where it concentrates the heat. And the coefficient of working of that heat pump is usually about 1 to 3. So you put in 1 kilowatt of energy to get 3 kilowatts out. It's very good. The last source of heat really is just to the bathroom spaces, and that's electric.
There are many other green features about this house. Rainwater off the roof is recycled, and solar panels provide hot water. But does Michael believe it is the answer to future living?
I don't think it's a complete answer, but it's certainly a long way towards that. It's trying to work with the environment rather than against it, so you're trying to minimise the amount of energy you use. And yes, it goes a long way towards that.
I like to watch people working. Of course, it's not real work. They are conserving the forest. They call themselves conservation volunteers. I am a bit of an expert at conservation myself. I am conserving my energy at the moment. as you could see.
You just take it easy.
That's right, put your feet up.
You're always on about helping the environment, recycling, saving the earth. Well, if you ask me, it's all a load of rubbish. If I'd wanted an easy life, I would have become a conservation volunteer. Now, come on, Molly. We've got real work to do. Rotten conservation volunteers. Huh. There's one of their recycling centres now. Hang on. She put that bottle in the wrong bank. My dear young lady, are you colourblind? That was a green bottle. You've put it in the wrong bin. You put it in the brown bin. It should have gone in the green bin.
What do you expect me to do about it? Fish it out again?
Well, yes, of course.
I'm not reaching in there.
Well, I am. It's as easy as falling off a log.
No.
That's one of our little sayings, falling off a log.
Meter man, oh meter man, I've got you now. You stand accused of polluting the environment. Your van, Molly, spews out poisonous fumes, and you have been littering the countryside. How do you plead, meter man? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And you are also guilty of blocking up a public bottle bank with your dirty great arm. Now get it out!
Oh dear. Oh dear. Right. I should have done this 20 years ago, eh, Billy? Still, better late than never. That's one of our little sayings. Better late than never. Still, I can't hang around here talking to you all day. I've got recycling work to do. Look at them with their power tools, chainsaws and brush cutters. It's ridiculous. Genuine conservation workers use hand tools, a pair of loppers and a saw. Call yourselves conservationists? You stand accused of noise pollution, air pollution, and wasting energy. You will be judged.
Lunatic.
Oh yes, they will be judged. With this little gadget, the omniometer, it measures everything. How much noise, how much energy, and how much smell.
Right, I'm off.
Is that bonfire environmentally friendly? The omniometer doesn't think so. Energy is still being wasted. Well, it's not me. It's not them. It's your television set. Don't worry, the omniometer will deal with it. Hello? Hello? Is anybody there? Can't you see me? Use your eyes!
Use your eyes when you are driving around. Do observe the speed limit. Why not give your car a holiday and use public transport instead? Many high streets are pedestrianised, and shoppers can walk in safety without the noise and smell of traffic. When you're walking in the countryside, follow the country code. Keep to footpaths and keep your dog under control. There are many organisations that work to protect the countryside. Each county has its own wildlife trust, and volunteers work on the nature reserves to preserve habitats for wildlife. Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth are internationally known for campaigns to conserve the environment. For years now, the electricity providers have been teaching the public to conserve energy. Renewable resources are being used more and more to provide energy. Look out for solar panels and, on hilltops, the wind turbines that generate electricity from the wind. Let's hope you still have some energy left for the grammar, vocabulary and exercises in your student's book. Next week's programme looks at another change that has come about in recent years. Instead of going out to work, many people have their office at home. Join us for that.